Hello again. This is Mike, the heavy metal cowboy. I am working on this. Is a project I've had going for a while. I kind of sat by the side as I was doing this epoxy paintings and the alcohol ink stuff. But this is what got me started on everything. Doing furniture. Doing furniture for a while. Been doing river tables. Been doing whatever. This is a project that I inspired from a different project I did, but it was all Buckeye Burl. It was a green and Buckeye Burl table in this style. Well, one day I was sitting out there, I was admiring how nice that Buckeye Burl table turned out. I said, you know what? I got some firewood outside. I bet if I could find some pieces with some really cool cross sections, chop them down, throw them on a table, throw some epoxy in there, and I think it'll look cool. So anyway, this is firewood pieces. I think this is 3 pieces of firewood total. They're all cut to about 2 inches. Put into a mold. I secured them at the bottom with some epoxy first, so they wouldn't float when I did the fill. And then after that cured and made it and adhesed all these pieces to the bottom. Then I filled it up with green. I also put some glow-in-the-dark powder in this, in the cracks, but I didn't put enough. It doesn't really show up. I guess if you leave it out in the sun for 80,000 hours or something like that, it glows a little bit, but there's not enough. So lesson learned, a lot of glow-in-the-dark is needed. So anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm just doing a seal coat. There will be maybe 2, maybe 3 seal coats on this, depending on how this stuff gets filled in here, the cracks, the little nods, stuff like this here, here. I was going to fill it with gold, but I decided to just go all natural, not do the gold thing. So what I do is I mix up 1 ounce per square foot of the epoxy. And it's just a seal coat. It's just going to seal the pores, going to make it look cool. Get all the irregularities filled, all these gaps, all these holes that are in here. And make it to where it's really nice and smooth on top, and so I can do my final clear coat. Like I said, this is a seal coat. And I think we should start playing. I'm going to grab a spreader real quick. Hold on. Alright, see, I got my spreaders. Here's my clear. This spreads it out. This one here, it's a notched trowel, and I use 1/4 by 1/8 to help spread the epoxy around. Might not need this one. Gonna use this one for sure, because that helps spread it better. Alright, so I'm gonna put 3, these are 15.5 by 21 inches. Which by my calculations comes up to about, let's call it 2.5 ounces per. I mixed a little more because I do that. This is my favorite part of doing this furniture, is when the epoxy gets in there and just really makes a difference on how everything looks. Alright, trying to drop equal amounts so I don't have to freak out. Okay, here we go. 3 ounces on one, 3 ounces on this one. And since it's clear, I'm not going to really put it in my box, so I'll dump it there. Let it stick for a second. Alright, let's start spreading it out and see how it's going to look. So 1/4 by 1/8 trowel edge. Kind of spread it out. Alright, I don't know if this trowel's going to work too good. This is what I usually use on the end coat. Yeah, that trowel's not really helping it spread out. So let me use that Bondo spreader. That'll spread it out a little better. Now the thing about this Pro Marine Supplies epoxy is you really have to keep it 74 degrees and above. Manufacturer website says it's not a suggestion to be 74 degrees and above, it's mandatory. This stuff won't cure in under 74 degrees. It'll look crappy, and I don't want it to look crappy. So anyway, I'm spreading it out. The whole idea is just to cover the whole top and help it fill all these little crevices and cracks. Take your time. We got about 15 minutes working time with this stuff. I'll shove a little bit over the edges because I'm going to have to rub the edges too. Hopefully another one's not sitting over there saying, "Hey!" Alright. Yeah, I know, it'd be silly if this table was actually talking. But the thing with this, you don't have to make it really smooth. You're just trying to fill the cracks. You're trying to seal the wood pores, fill the voids. I mean, it's firewood, it's wood. It's going to have cracks, it's going to have voids, it's going to have holes. It's firewood. Funny part about this one is when I was cutting this firewood, the first firewood piece I grabbed was really neat. It had a really cool cross section. It would have been awesome. So I got about halfway cut through it, and I started noticing this void. And this void was going longitudinally through the piece of wood. I was like, what the heck's in there? It looked like felt as I'm cutting it with my crosscut saw. It looked like there were pieces of felt in there. It looked weird. I don't know if felt's the right word for it, but it just really looked weird. So I'm cutting the pieces off, chopping them at 2 inches, cutting them off, putting them in my box so I can bring it in. And after I got about 6 pieces cut, dropped it in the box, and as I was dropping that 6th piece in the box, these big, huge carpenter ants start coming out of that piece of wood. Carpenter ants don't eat wood. What they do is they go into the wood as a home. They eat everything else, but not the wood. They basically clear that out. So I had a bunch of dormant ants in a couple of pieces of my wood. Freaked me out a little bit. I'm kind of grossed out. I'm sitting there looking at these ants kind of flopping out of the wood and just coming out real slow because they're still dormant. It was 20 degrees outside when I was doing it. But yeah, always watch out for ants in your wood. That can kind of ruin your day. I'm just glad I didn't bring it inside and have it sitting there for a couple of days warming up. The ants wake up and say, "Hey, we got a new house." But I love the way this brings out the colors, brings out the wood grain. Makes it look special. And this is all firewood I already had. All right. Okay, I got some really deep cracks over here. It's probably going to take a couple of times to get those actually filled. But once again, you don't have to smooth it out. You don't have to. The whole idea is just to seal the wood. It's called a seal coat. Man, these end tables are going to look good. They're going to be nice end tables for somebody. And this is all oak. Green tint to the Pro Marine Supplies epoxy I use. Alright, it's time to get a little messy. Well, not a little messy, you know what I mean. Okay. Now, you want to make sure you get the edges real good. You want to get them smooth. And the gloved hand's the easiest way to do it. I was wondering what would happen if I didn't wear gloves and just use my fingers. Maybe I could make a cast mold of my hand. Of course, how to get my hand out of it, I have no idea. But, you know, hey, we can play. Just make sure you get all the edges really nice. You want to get epoxy on every inch of this. But like I said, this is my favorite part because it brings out, it lets you see what it's going to look like. I'll do one more, at least maybe two more seal coats, just to make sure I got it. Make sure everything's nice and smooth. Then at the end, I'll throw another 8-inch coat, eighth of an inch coat. Yes, it's going to be this tall. Now, an 1/8 of an inch coat on there called a flood coat, which basically I'll do 4 ounces per square foot. And what it does is it really coats. You can see how thick it is right here. You see how I'm bunching it up? What'll happen is when I do the flood coat, it's just whoosh. And it basically ends up rolling over the sides, and you have about an 1/8 inch layer of epoxy on it. It makes it nice and smooth. Really pretty. And if you get the top seal coated really good, it makes it mirror-like almost. It's neat stuff. Move some more over there. This whole back corner here is still dry. But you want to wet it. You want to get it wet. Yes, I go through a lot of nitrile gloves doing this, but it's worth it. All right. Like I said, you don't need to make it smooth. Basically, just want to seal coat it. Just start filling in all the cracks, all the voids. This right there is going to be fun. That's going to soak. Now, some of these cracks actually did go all the way through the wood. So you're going to find the one. This one had some, the couple that went all the way through. Once again, it's only 2 inches deep. This one's already seeping through. It's got to fill up this right here. That's a really deep one. That and that are cousins. Brother, sister, however you want to call it. I just love this stuff. It brings out the wood grain. But anyway, like I said, some of these cracks go all the way through. So I covered the backside with some Tyvek tape. That way the epoxy won't soak through, hit there, and never feel that crack. All right, how we looking? How we looking? See, that one was a lot to fill there. That's cool. Like I said, this is all good stuff. You got this right here. It's going to be a pain. That might be why I'll have to take 3 seal coats instead of just 2. All right. Yes, I'm just massaging it in, moving it around, filling the cracks. This one's going to take more than one for sure. These right here as well. It's all part of the fun. What in the world was that? Huh, piece of plastic. I don't know where that came from. All right. Yeah, right there. Okay. Pull the glove off. I don't want to get epoxy all over everything, just mostly everything. Now I'm going to start moving it around. I got the edges done. I'll move some around here to these big crevices. Crevice-I, crevice-E. What's the plural? Crevices. And you can see where the bubbles are popping up. That's usually where the cracks are trying to fill in. It's pushing the air out as it's filling up. So it creates bubbles. That right there is going to be a pain. That's going to be a pain, and I love every second of it. This one's got way too much epoxy. Let's transfer. All right. I got a little extra. I'm just gonna do what I can to try to fill these gaps as much as I can with this first coat. So where you find bubbles at this point is where you got those cracks that are filling. All right, let this strip out a little bit. I know, no music this time. It's too quiet, isn't it? Just too quiet. This house is too quiet. All right, I'll put this up and I'll torch this thing. Let's see what kind of fun we can have. Torch. Like I said, it's not smooth, it's not pretty. It gives you an idea what it's going to look like. We're just trying to seal the cracks, that's all. Now when this cures, it'll probably be tomorrow before I get to it, maybe 2 days. I'm going to sand it down with 220 just to rough it up. And I'll do another seal coat. The reason why I sand it down is to give the epoxy an opportunity to have a really good mechanical bond with the previous coat. These are going to be some end tables. If you like them, please say so. If you don't, please say so. Tell me what would make it better. Like I said, I'm always willing to listen to suggestions, recommendations for improvement. Now I was using an actual big old blue plumber's torch because I do a lot of plumbing work, and I had one on hand. But those things are just unwieldy. It's like 18, this big. Hold on, can you see? Okay, this big. And you really can't manipulate it how you need to. So, all right, let's get those initial bubbles. I'll come back in about 30 minutes and do this again, because it will bubble up. You can tell it's already bubbling up between times when I'm torching each side. All right, now I'm going to take y'all down from there, so please be careful. Give you a closer, a closer look. You can't see that. All right, so. Yeah, just a second. All right, everybody close your eyes because it's going to get shaky. All right. Yes, I learned I'm going slower now. I just think this stuff looks wildly cool. I got going faster, sorry. Yeah, come around. This is the other one. Get the glare of the lights out of the way. Sorry about that. These end tables are going to be sweet. And there's no other end tables in the world just like these. And this is what inspired me. This is my Buckeye Burl. I made one of these, sorry about that. I made one of these for my daughter, except instead of using the green, I used red because she really likes the red. Keep my power cord out of the epoxy. On this one, I used copper. Did some copper veins in it. A little pool of copper there. And all these little divots in the wood, all these little wormholes, I filled them all with copper too. You can't really tell how good it looks. I mean, I guess this camera kind of fades everything out a little bit. It's very cool. But anyway, first seal coat done. Waiting on a cure. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I'm going to sign off now. Y'all take care. Have a good one.